We're joined by Mario Delgado, 29 years old, out of Pittsburgh. And Mars, thanks for being here. All right, so listen, start off with me. We've been talking about this kid, Richard McCroskey. He calls himself Syko Sam. What do you know about him?
Well, I know this kid used to go to all my shows, all the autograph signings. I see him out of state at the shows. And you go to all the functions, man. I know he was a big horrorcore supporter, man. You know, I've met the kid before, and it's always a tragedy when something like this happens, you know?
Yeah, what went through your mind when you heard what happened?
First thing I thought, I was like, man, not again, because the media always tries to blame it on me, like I was the one who committed the crime. But really, I just do entertainment, you know? I'm an entertainer, and this kid kind of took it a little too far.
A little too far, to say the least. But you told me that you've met this young man. He's quite a fan, right? You've seen him at concerts.
I've seen him at concerts. He would message me on MySpace. He would email me, all kinds of stuff, man. I've seen the kid around so much that I knew exactly who it was when they said who it was.
And you told me that he actually gave you the creeps.
Well, you know, so much that where I kind of got a weird vibe about him, you know what I mean? But then again, in this genre, all the fans are a little off anyways, because, you know, to listen to this kind of music, you know, you could either just be entertained by horror or stuff like that, but every once in a while you get one of them fans be like, wow, this guy shouldn't listen to this music, he's gonna do something crazy. But I never really got that vibe from him, but I felt like when I met him, he was kind of creepy, you know?
The lyrics obviously push the envelope really far, but you said that's what the genre is all about. But what happens when someone takes it seriously and murders in the name of horrorcore, which apparently happened here?
Well, I mean, it's happened a bunch of times, and not only just horrorcore music, but in rock and roll and everything. You know, it can't just be horrorcore music. It happens to video games, but just because our genre is such an extreme genre of music, we talk about all the taboo subjects. We really push the envelope. We're really extreme with our lyrics. We try to shock you. That's the biggest thing, is shocking you. And when something like this happens, it gets more attention because, like, well, he just said that because he was talking about murder in this song, or suicide in this song, or shooting up this and that in this song. And it just boils down to, again, it's just entertainment, and these kids, you know, maybe something growing up wasn't just right, and they take this form of entertainment and it becomes fantasy for them as an outlet, you know what I mean? Instead of killing themselves, they listen to a song about killing themselves, and it may get them through the day, you know what I mean? But in other cases, you never know. I guess apparently he took it the other route.
And when people take it that other route, I mean, at what point do you accept any responsibility for lyrics that might have encouraged murder?
Well, I kind of figured, you know, I'm doing my job, and as a horrorcore artist, I keep putting out extreme lyrics, offensive lyrics, you know, the best music as possible. As an artist, that's my job, is making the best music possible within my genre. You know, that's all I'm doing. You know, Stephen King makes movies. He makes the best horror movies as possible. If somebody watches that and kills themselves, like, Stephen King's not going to be like, man, I probably should have never made that movie. Of course not. You know what I mean? If they're crazy, they're crazy. Whatever happened to just being crazy?
Yeah, well, yeah, so that's one of the questions I'm sure they'll be looking at on the scene as police investigators check this out. But I understand the investigators have talked to you about this. What did they ask you?
Well, basically, they kind of wanted to know, like, what horrorcore was all about, you know? They wanted to know, okay, this kid listens to your music. Tell us about your music, because, you know what I mean? Out there, you know, there hasn't been really much with the murder and violent media together, you know. He wanted to know exactly what the kid might have been thinking, what he's been exposed to as far as entertainment goes, what could have been in his mind. You know, if I was his favorite artist, what did I rap about? What could have been where this kid was listening to it and got the idea, or he just kind of wanted to know exactly, if he was so obsessed with this music, what is this music about?
And I understand
and they kind of used me as a reference for it.
Understood. I understand that it wasn't just the young man who called himself Syko Sam, but it was at least one of the murder victims was also a horrorcore fan.
I think all three of them kids were horrorcore fans. They just got back from a horrorcore concert out in the Detroit area, you know what I mean? Like, I was supposed to play that show. I've seen all three of these kids at shows before. Horrorcore music brings them together as friends, and it just so happens the same reason, you know, made what happened happen, you know what I mean? But in horrorcore music, it's not just about a music. It's about, you know what I mean, it's having something of your own that's not in the mainstream. You know, our music, you can't hear us on TV unless it's something like this. You can't hear us on the radio unless it's a news interview, because they always try to pin this stuff on us. But with these kids, it's special to them. It's not on MTV being pushed in their face. It's something that they found. And together as a collective audience, they feel close to each other because of it. You know what I mean? It's something that's theirs. We have our own lingo. We have our own festivals. We have our own energy drinks and T-shirts and clothing and style. It's kind of like a lifestyle, but this kid pushed the lifestyle a little bit too hard. You know what I mean?
And even though someone might push it too hard and kill for whatever other reasons, there are still going to be a lot of people, frankly, who are going to ask you, Mars, at what point do you have any responsibility when they're listening to your lyrics and they're killing?
You know, I do have a responsibility as an artist. I have a parental advisory sticker on my album, you know what I mean? You have to be a certain age to buy that album. Your parents have to be there if you're underage to buy that album. You know, it's just like you go buy an X-rated movie or an R-rated movie or an NC-17 movie. You have to be a certain age to buy that. And that dignifies, if you're a certain age where you can buy it, you should be able to take the content in the music, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to quit doing what I do because I'm good at it, I'm successful at it, it's what gets me paid, you know what I mean? And these kids, they got to have parents and teachers and principals and adult figures letting them know that this is fantasy, it's entertainment, it is not something real. Don't take it like that, you know what I mean? And as me, you know, I'm saying it right now on TV. Don't take it like that. It's entertainment. Don't go and kill yourself, or don't kill other people at your school, your parents, or nothing like that. That's not what I'm saying. Just put the CD in your trunk and bump it. You know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to say in my music. There's no message, really. You know what I mean?
All right, Mars, thanks for joining us. Before I let you go, I've got to ask you, what is that on your face?
Oh, man, that's part of my image, you know what I mean? Horrorcore, not only do we rap extreme, we look extreme, you know what I mean? And this pretty much characterizes my music that I'm doing. It matches the character that I portray in my music, you know what I mean? And that's what it is.
All right, Mars, thanks very much joining us from LA today. Appreciate your time.